The last time I was this early, you had to get your movies from Blockbuster and rewind them before you returned them. Welcome back to OG's Danger Show, coming to you from the Danger Outpost high atop Danger Mountain. It's a lot of danger in that. Hey, I wanted to show you something kind of cool today about something that's, well, there's not a lot of information out there yet, and I happened to get my hands on the Glock V Series pistols. And I think you guys are going to be interested in this, whether or not you like it. Now, that's up to you. In this video, we're going to talk about it real quick, why it happened. We're going to take a look under the hood and see what's different inside the pistol. I'm going to show you the slide. I'm going to show you the internals. And then we're going to take it out to the range and actually fire some shots through it and see if it actually performs any differently. And I really don't think it's going to perform any differently than a standard Glock, but we're going to find out. If you're not already subscribed to OG's Danger Show, reach down here and hit the subscribe button. Also, please hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified anytime I put out more crap on YouTube like this. Glock is actually going to discontinue completely all of their Gen 3, 4, and 5 pistols, which is pretty much everything out there. They will still be for sale, and they're going to produce what they call their V Series pistol. Hey, early on in this video, before all of the haters jump out of this video because they just hate Glock now, I made a couple of videos recently that were Glock-related products, and I've had a lot of haters down in the comment section explain that they just can't buy Glock anymore because Glock gave in to anti-2A politicians. Glock is bending the knee and bowing down to Gavin Newsom. That's not exactly what's happening. See, Glock is being sued right now by 14 different states. And some of them, Oregon, Nevada, states that you wouldn't even expect. Glock is being sued almost out of existence. Every one of those 14 lawsuits, and countless cities that are also suing Glock, but every one of those lawsuits are essentially going to bankrupt Glock. Every single one of them is for multi-millions of dollars. Glock is being forced to change their design, and they're only tweaking this design a little bit. This pistol still functions and carries and shoots exactly the same way. That's what we're out here to prove today. But if Glock didn't make these changes, at least in California, July 1st, there would be no more Glocks for sale on store shelves. So should Glock just sit back, stick to their Glock 19, and never change it, and never sell another Glock in the state of California, or Delaware, Connecticut, Maine, Minnesota, Michigan, all these different states that are suing Glock out of existence? I don't believe so. Glock is simply making some very small product changes that do not affect the function of this pistol so that they can continue selling this pistol, so that they can continue flooding the market with firearms and providing good quality firearms for the average user. It may not be your pistol, that's okay, but a lot of people, in fact, more people buy Glocks than any other brand out there on store shelves. Let's get those people armed and quit hating on the company that's just trying to defend itself from corrupt politicians. Put the blame where it goes. Quit blaming Glock. I mean, let's say Glock settles. Let's say Glock gives in and just keeps the Glock 19 and 17 and every other model that you know and love exactly as they are. California is banning the Glock pistol as it's currently designed as of July 1st of 2026. There won't be any new ones for sale in California. Do you really want gun companies drying up and being forced out of business by blue state politicians? No, I don't think so. I don't think you do. I know I don't. I'd rather see them make some minor tweaks to this gun. Minor tweaks that doesn't change any damn thing to this gun, how it functions, and be able to continue selling them in all of these restricted places. I think that makes a lot of sense. I hope you agree. To my knowledge, and I've searched everywhere online, I've not been able to find anywhere where somebody had a Glock V Series pistol in their possession and able to take it out to the range and shoot it. We're going to do all of those things here today on OG's Danger Show. I've heard a lot of speculation what the V stands for. I don't really know, and it doesn't really matter. It's basically a stopgap. It's a generation in between 5 and, get this, Gen 6, which is scheduled to be coming out pretty soon. You guys hear all that scratching going on underneath the table? This is Angus. He's the new addition up here on Danger Mountain. Angus is our new guard dog. He's very ferocious. Angus is down here on the floor of the studio chewing on every single thing. And he's being very noisy while I'm trying to record. All right, say goodbye, Angus. Goodbye. Oh. Now, the word on the street is that Glock was going to release the V Series on December 1st, and they were going to sell the Gen 3, 4, and 5s right up until November 30th. I had heard that these were not coming out anywhere. I actually wasn't interested in the Glock V Series pistols. I already have a Gen 5 19. Why would I need a Glock V Series? So I had zero interest in buying this pistol. But I found out that nobody really had one of these in their hands. There's a lot of videos and pictures online showing what the internals look like, comparing them to the Gen 5 guns, but nobody has this gun in their hot little hands, ready to take it out to the range and shoot it. So I've never walked into a gun store before and paid good money for a pistol that I didn't want. But I thought you guys might want to see this thing, so I went ahead and bought this. But no, I probably don't plan on keeping this. I don't have any use for it myself. I just want to show you this thing, shoot it a little bit, and then we'll figure out what to do with it after that. So this is the Glock that nobody wants, nobody needs. And I found out when I went into the gun store that the Glock V Series has been out and advertised for a couple of days, and I was the first one to buy a V Series pistol. Embarrassing. Hey, a quick shout out to my Patreon members. My Patreon members are pretty much what made this little thing possible. I was able to run down really quick and get it last minute, and it wasn't cheap. But I don't normally cut into my cocaine and hookers money to buy a gun, especially a gun that I don't really want for my own personal inventory. So thank you very much to Patreon members. If you want to join us over on Patreon and get early access to videos, as well as some behind the scenes clips, go down here, use the link in the description section. Thank you very much, Patreon members. So first off, externally, this looks just like a Gen 5 pistol. I know I have a Holosun optic on this one. So essentially, these pistols are externally the same. They look the same at first from the outside. They feel the same, aside from the small changes I've added to my Glock 19. This Glock 19 V Series feels exactly the same, and that's a good thing. I want this thing to be able to fit in existing holsters that I have, and for lights and lasers to be able to snap onto the little dust cover. I don't want a completely redesigned Glock that makes me go out and buy all new stuff. The Glock V Series has V stamped on the frame and on the slide. And you might ask, oh gee, can the parts be swapped out with a Gen 5 Glock? The answer is no, and I'll show you why in just a second. And I want you to note also on the slide that it's made in Austria, not Georgia like all of the Gen 5 Glocks. So at first glance, this slide is as boring and useless as folding fitted sheets, including the fact that the V Series still comes with the shitty plastic Lego sights that everybody hates. But at least it still has that steep grip angle that nobody likes, and all of the other features are pretty much the same as the Gen 5 Glocks. The Glock single lug rail, the blocky trigger guard, and the flared magazine well, as well as the ambi slide release levers and the changeable back straps. And my personal peeve, the Glock V Series pistols, at least this generation, the first ones that are coming out, have no MOS cut here on the slide. Now, why wouldn't Glock release a new pistol with an MOS cut? If you don't want an optic on your gun, you keep your top on. And Sydney Sweeney, if you're watching, and I know you are, this does not apply to you. So why did Glock, when designing a new Gen 5.5 pistol, not take this opportunity to fix all of the things that needed to be fixed on the Glock pistols? First of all, they're awfully stubborn in making changes, but rumor has it they're coming out with a Gen 6 pretty soon, and rumors are that they're going to release that pistol at the SHOT Show this year. And I'll be there this year, so I'll let you know right away if the Gen 6 pistols come out and what changes they include. So other than the stamping on the slide and the frame, one of the only other differences you can see is here on the end plate. And it's a small difference. The little notches on the back of my Glock 19 are squared off, two little squares, while the V Series end plate has a little stair step contour in its cutout, and I'll show you why as we go real deep inside.
That's it, boy. Get in there nice and deep like.
There were rumors that the guide rods and springs were going to be different. Nope, exactly the same. There were rumors that the rifling and the barrels would be different. Nope. The barrels are almost the exact same, including the rifling, except for the Georgia engraving on the Gen 5 barrel hood and the AT engraving on the V Series barrel hood, which stands for Austria. Now let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
Let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
First, the slides. Here on the right side of your screen is my Gen 5 Glock 19 slide, and the V Series is on the left. So at first glance, the underside of these slides look pretty much the same. So one thing you might notice here is there's a little bit of a taper cut to this channel, this little raceway that's been cut over here on the left side of the V Series slide, making this little piece narrower at the bottom than at the top over here. It's a straight cut. It's the same width at the top as it is at the bottom. Also back here on the end plate, you're going to notice an open gap back here, whereas over here there's a little tiny step built in to the plastic of the end plate, as well as these little ramps that are on both sides of the firing pin channel. No ramps on the Gen 5, but these new ramps on there, just more of the structure that helps prevent an item being slipped in there to convert this thing to full auto. You also might notice a very shallow little channel cut in over here. I'm not sure exactly what that does, but something rides in that little tiny L-shaped channel that does not exist on the Gen 5. And of course the firing pin lug on the V series is going to be smaller, little square shaped versus a larger rectangular shaped firing pin lug. There's really not a lot of other changes on these slides that one can notice. Now there was a rumor out there that the end plates were going to be made more difficult to remove. That didn't make a lot of sense to me, since a lot of armorers and actually just casual users remove their end plate just to clean the internals. Why would they design a gun that made it difficult to remove that end plate? Sure enough, this end plate on the V Series pistol is just as easy to remove as the old Glocks. So I've got all the parts from the V Series here on your left and the Gen 5 pistol here on your right. You can see there's really not a lot of difference. The end plates look the same from the inside, and as we mentioned, they just have a little bit different notch cut into them on the back to accommodate some different parts that we're going to look at here in the slide in just a minute. As far as I can tell, the loaded chamber indicators, the plungers and springs are identical. And at first glance, these firing pins look identical, except, as I mentioned before, there's a very, very slight difference in the geometry of that lug on the firing pin. And that's about it. Other than that, Glock still retains the same striker profile up front. So here on the frame is where you're going to notice the most obvious differences between the V Series here on your left and the Gen 5 here on your right. You're going to notice a very slight geometry change to the ejector. You're also going to notice this little lug of plastic here on the Gen 5 is smooth, whereas on this one there's a little tiny step next to it. As I mentioned before, the cruciform is still there, and it's even got the same part number, and I thought this was the evil part that allowed this gun to be fired fully automatic. As it turns out, to make a gun fully automatic, that switch was a tiny little wedge that was inserted from the back and essentially pressed down on that cruciform, allowing the pistol to keep firing with one trigger pull. And what this does, first of all, they've lowered the geometry of this, and you're going to notice some very slight differences to the shapes here on the back of the plastic frame, and a very slight little rectangular piece here versus a little stepped, almost a castle shape piece there. So there's going to be some very slight differences that to the disconnector. I'm not going to get too much in detail with the internals, but it all pretty much happens from here back. There is nothing different about the Gen 5 slide release or any of the other locking block or parts on this gun. They are identical. So you can see there's actually not a lot of things that have been done to change this firearm, but the changes were just subtle enough to make the V Series nearly impossible, not completely impossible. There's rumors out there that you could just take a Dremel and affix the pieces on this, and I can tell you by looking at the channels here on the V Series slide versus the Gen 5 slide, the angle of the geometry on this would require quite a bit more than some basic at-home Dremel work to modify this gun. So I'm going to throw these guns back together here off camera. We're going to step outside Danger Studio here and fire the V Series and see if there's any dang difference whatsoever. Okay, we've proved right here on camera that the Glock V Series has a slightly better trigger, lighter trigger, than the standard Glock, which comes in at usually about 4.5 to 5.5 pounds. And the V Series is coming in pretty consistently at about 3.5 pounds. So that's something. It felt lighter to me in the gun store, and we've just confirmed it here on camera. Okay, we're gonna put some first rounds, live rounds through the Glock 19V. I haven't seen this yet on YouTube, so these might be the first shots out of the Glock 19V. They certainly are here in Central Idaho, because nobody else has been buying this damn thing. But before we begin that, eyes and ears every single time we shoot. 15 rounds. We're shooting some Blazer, 115 grain full metal jacket. Okay, first rounds out of the 19V. Let's see if it explodes or if the V makes the bullets go all that much faster. "15 rounds, slide lock back." It felt very much like a normal Glock. Very comfortable shooting 9mm gun for me. Haters gonna hate. This video not sponsored or endorsed by True Moo Chocolate Milk or any other milk-like product. I don't know. The thing feels like any old Glock, and I like shooting them. I shoot them well. I haven't shot iron sights in quite a long time. Man, what a nice pistol to shoot. Doesn't matter if it's the Gen 3, 4, or 5, or the V Series. Found a couple of magazines of Spear Gold Dot here. Let's just double check that it'll run those. Of course it will, OG. A little bit hotter. Runs them every time though. Ooh, I look good. Hey everyone, come see how good I look. Well, there you go. There's my evaluation of the famed Glock V Series. I ran exactly 200 rounds, threw it out here today. That's all I'm going to give you. You can't get any more out of OG, sorry. I liked it. Shoots just like any old Glock. Let's not hate on them. They've made essentially the exact same pistol, like Glock is really good for doing. I'm not trying to sell you this pistol. I don't want you to buy it. I wouldn't buy it myself if I didn't need it for a video. In fact, I'm probably going to sell this one. So if you need a Glock pistol, do not be afraid of the V Series. I appreciate you guys stopping by. These are nutty times. You guys stay safe out there. Stay armed whenever you can. And until next video, OG out.